Windows on ARM has been tried several times before, and mostly failed. Those devices just never had the performance, and the software industry didn't really give it that much support. But there's a brand new ARM processor that, at least on paper, beats out the old x86 processors and competes with the M3. I tested it, and it is really efficient. So these thin and light laptops benefit a lot and do feel like the next generation. This one is a Lenovo Yoga Slim 7X, which I think hits a sweet spot between price, hardware, and performance. Lenovo sent this to me to test out and sponsor this video, but as always, I'm free to say whatever I want, so here's my experience living with it. In terms of the physical design of this laptop, it's impressive how much hardware is stuffed into the chassis. This device has a 14.5-inch display and some of the biggest battery you can have in a Snapdragon X Elite laptop at 70 watt-hours. But because the bezels are super thin, it ends up not feeling any bigger than a typical 14-inch laptop. In fact, it's about the same depth as the 13.8-inch Surface Laptop 7. And with a much larger battery, it also isn't any thicker than the Surface Laptop at only 12.8 millimeters tall. And here's a Yoga 9i, which is a 2-in-1, so not really a fair comparison, but they're about the same size, and the Yoga 9i only has a 14-inch screen. The Yoga Slim 7X also has one of the highest pixel densities among the new Snapdragon laptops at 240 pixels per inch. It's an OLED screen, so it has perfect contrast, and it can hit a peak brightness of 1000 nits in HDR, which makes it the brightest Snapdragon X Elite laptop that's available right now. It also supports Dolby Vision and covers the entire P3 color gamut. So the display really is quite good, especially for the price at around $1,200. In a darker environment next to the M3 MacBook Air, which has an LCD screen, it's very impressive. The only drawback would be the anti-reflection coating. It can definitely be better. When I'm outdoors, it struggles a bit. The screen is also only 90 Hz, but it's definitely still better than 60 Hz, which some of the other ARM laptops in the same price range uses. The rest of the chassis is fairly conventional. It has USB-C ports on both sides, so you can charge it on either side, which is nice. It also has quite a big opening for the ventilation at the bottom, which is something that you don't often see on these Snapdragon laptops. And it certainly helps with the cooling and makes this a very quiet laptop. If you have something like an AC running, you probably wouldn't even be able to hear this laptop when doing just general computing tasks. Another good thing about the chassis design is the direct firing speakers. I'm glad they were able to make room and put the speakers on the sides of the keyboard, and it definitely sounds better than those speakers that only fire downwards and bounce off of the table. On top where the webcam is, there's this little reverse notch, which helps you open it up more easily with one hand. Oh yeah, and it's also touchscreen, even though it's not a 2-in-1. But if you're using it in your lap, it's sometimes helpful to use your finger to touch the screen. Plus, the hinge is really solid, and it can open to almost 180 degrees, which comes in handy in certain situations. Like if you want to prop it up on a stand to have better posture when working, it would take up less room. And when combined with a touchscreen, it does let you use it in more unconventional positions. A small drawback, it still uses the conventional diving board type trackpad. It takes a lot of force to click the top part, unlike a haptic trackpad, but at least it's large. However, the keyboard is great. It has a small dish on the keycap itself and long travel at 1.5 millimeters. I find it really satisfying to use, and it's not too loud either. Lastly, there's no fingerprint reader, but you do have Windows Hello. There's also a physical off switch for the webcam on the side, but no headphone jack. Overall, the chassis is nice and rounded with no hard edges, so it's comfortable to carry around by hand. The curves also help to make it appear more slim. But the most interesting aspect of this laptop is definitely the performance and efficiency. If you're more of a casual user or don't really use any applications that's computationally intensive like video editing, then the new processor is just truly on another level when it comes to the efficiency. In the best efficiency mode on this laptop, you trade off a little bit of performance for much more battery life. The typical web browsing task, like video watching, only needs 6 watts for the whole system, and this matches the M3 MacBook Air. And with the Slim 7X having a 33% bigger battery, it easily outlasts the MacBook. And in this mode, there's basically no fan noise most of the time. But even when the fans do run, they mostly stay at very low speeds, so it's super quiet. When it's in a cooler room, I can be running a benchmark on the best efficiency mode, and the fans only spin intermittently. The overall surface temperature is also on the cooler side. But I found that this best efficiency mode does run out of steam if you're using it to drive a 4K monitor while trying to play back a 4K 60 video on YouTube at the same time. I had a little bit of drop frames then, but putting it into a higher power mode fixes that. There's also a little bit of performance loss when unplugged. The single core performance stayed about the same, but there's a 13% loss in terms of multi-core on Geekbench. That's actually not a big deal. For general computing, you rarely need all the performance possible anyways. Especially when I'm out and about, I've been mostly using it in the balance mode for better battery life. And besides casual use, it can also handle some more intensive workflows very well. Photoshop has had a native ARM version since 2021, and with just a few photos at a time and some simple effects, the processor can handle it with no issues. Even applying more complicated filters ran pretty fast. Okay, but let's be realistic. This is still ultimately a thin and light device, so it's not really well suited for intense gaming and video editing. It's not really meant for that, but you can still get up to 32 gigs of RAM, and it's actually only $69 more than 16 gigs of RAM. Nice! If the game is on the lighter end with no compatibility issues or more casual video editing, then the performance is okay. Some video editing softwares already have a native Windows ARM version, like DaVinci Resolve. Here, I'm using it to just put together some clips, and it runs smoothly. I've also observed that sleep on Windows now works properly. I've seen some x86 laptops randomly wake up during sleep and drains a ton of battery, but this doesn't do that, and there's very little battery drain when sleeping. However, one downside of the new Snapdragon X Elite processor is that it won't just run any old apps. They would need to be run in emulation. Most of the more common apps already have a native Windows ARM version because this is not the first time that Windows has tried to switch to ARM. But even if you do need to emulate some apps, it's generally fine. The emulation performance can vary quite a bit depending on exactly what app it is. But for apps that are less demanding, it seems to work without any major hiccups, aside from a bit more battery drain. However, gaming might not work out that well, and some more strict anti-cheat might prevent it from running altogether. Beyond just CPU and GPU, the X Elite processor also has a neural processing unit, which means you would get all of the AI features that comes with this category of laptops. I do like the built-in webcam effects like the portrait blur. It works quite well, and the creative filters are pretty funny. The webcam processing also seems to be improved, so the final image is nicer. You also have this Copilot key, which now replaces the right control key, and it just calls up Copilot with one click. But there are also many AI-accelerated tasks that you might not even know is taking advantage of the NPU, such as object tracking in DaVinci Resolve. These tasks can run on just about any CPU or GPU, but the NPU will be a bit faster and, more importantly, more efficient. And when the NPU is running those operations, your CPU and GPU are free to do other things. Overall, the Yoga Slim 7X delivers this next generation of Windows on ARM experience in a very well-rounded package with a great display, great keyboard, and surprisingly large battery. For general computing on the go, it's very impressive, but do check if your favorite app has ARM support. You can check out the Yoga Slim 7X at the link down below. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.